evaluate the summation as I varies from 1 to n of 8i plus 5 divided by n squared. Now, the first thing to keep in mind here is that your variable is I. So what this is saying is the value of I changes from 1 to 2 to 3 up to n. So the value of I is changing. I is the variable and n is a constant. And since n is a constant, the first thing we could do is factor out that n squared, since it's a constant that's there in each term in this summation. So we could say this is equal to 1 over n squared times the summation as I varies from 1 to n of 8i plus 5. Okay, so now that the constant is factored out, we could actually go ahead and use properties of summation. This is basically just factoring. And we can split up that summation, say 1 over n squared, I'll use a parenthesis here, or bracket, times, well, we could say 8 times the summation as I goes from 1 to n of I, plus the summation as I goes from 1 to n of 5. So see what I did there? I just took this summation and split it up into 2 and factored out the 8, because again, 8, just like the n squared was a constant, the 8 is a constant, so we could factor that out. All right, so now we have two summations to evaluate, and we could apply some of our formulas for summation. And in this case, we have a formula that says the summation I goes from 1 to n of I, or basically adding up all the positive whole numbers from 1 to n. And this is equal to n times n plus 1 divided by 2. So this is our formula that we're applying here. And we're applying it to that guy right there. All right, so let's see. We have a 1 over n squared out front, parentheses. Then we have an 8. And that is times n times n plus 1 divided by 2. That's coming from our formula. Plus, well, the second summation, the summation I goes from 1 to n of 5, well, there's no variable there in the argument of the summation, so it's just 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. Each term is a 5, and there's n of them, so that would be 5n. All right, so we have done it. We've evaluated the summation. Now we should probably do a little simplifying here. So first thing I see is the 8 and the over 2. Those will cancel to a 4 and a 1. So we'll have 1 over n squared. And if we distribute that 4n times the n plus 1, it looks like we'll have a 4n squared plus 4n, and then there's plus 5n, which of course the 4n and the 5n give you a 9n, so we have 1 over n squared times 4n squared plus 9n. And finally, let's distribute that 1 over n squared. So it looks like we end up, once we're done simplifying, with a 4, because the n squares cancel, plus a 9 over n. One of those n's on the bottom cancel with that n next to the 9. All right, so that about does it. Our summation is evaluated and simplified. All right, I hope this was helpful.